This video is dedicated to my show. Special thanks to Madobe for making the thumbnail of this video and getting the news out. You can find their socials right here on the screen.
Oh, bro, I was on mute. Throw me this clipboard if you think it's a poltergeist.
Greetings everyone, it's Halloween and I hope you guys have had a... Yeah, so this video was supposed to be posted on my YouTube channel around Halloween. Unfortunately, my professor hasn't given everyone at the film festival to post their Halloween YouTube video. Like, they haven't given us the go-ahead. So this video will aim to reconstruct everything from the ground up and make this video more fun and unique compared to the one I released. I changed almost everything in the original video and have had pretty much, like, a lot of things revised. So, this will be a ghost hunter's guide to Phasmophobia, and I hope you enjoy it. So Phasmophobia is a game about trying to find out what type of ghost is haunting a location. So once you leave, you can call in the right exorcism squad to fuck them up. Currently, there are 24 ghost types within the game that have their own unique traits and abilities. You can find and single out what ghost it is by using your paranormal equipment, or if you actually read the ghost hunting manual on what the ghost types are, you can find the ghost without having to do shit. There are maps you can choose that vary in size. There are your small maps, your medium maps, and the large maps. And if you're going to be playing on a large map, I'd suggest you make sure you have some friends, as hauling almost every equipment into the play area will be time consuming and boring as hell. If you're playing on the higher difficulties, this can also be a pain in the ass, as like if you find the ghost room, let's say you find it in room A around like 5 minutes into the game, and it takes like a minute or two in the play area to move the stuff into the, I say ghost room, which is like, what, 4 minutes or something like that? The ghost probably moved to room B, which is like, what, 3 light years across the map. I could be exaggerating, as we've barely played any of the large maps, but good lord, I am sure on Insanity it would be awful. But yeah, you really don't have to play the maps in order unless you want to. This is a co-op game or single-player game where you just choose the map, get in, and just have fun. Looking around your base of operations, you can see your trophy case, which holds your achievements in-game, events you participated in, and the ghosts you discovered. In the other case, you have cursed possessions and remains that you have discovered so far. You can play Jenga, basketball, bowling, and cornhole. The pin board here is your way of accessing the game. You can see your daily and weekly challenges here. Man, this event trophy case is so empty. If I didn't stop playing around 2023, it would have been really full. On the opposite end of the map pinboard, you can find the Ghost OS monitor. This is where you can purchase equipment and create loadouts that you can bring into the operation. You can check your loadout, purchase items, and all that stuff. If you take a look at your equipment, there are 3 tiers of each equipment that unlocks as you level up. The tier 1 equipment are your starter items. They're good at what they do, but they're obviously not as great as their tier 2 and tier 3 counterparts. As you progress through each tier, the equipment gets better, more reliable, and easier to use. Just make sure you have enough money to upgrade when you reach that specific level. To make the moolah, you have to find the right ghost type, capture optional media, and complete 3 other optional objectives. The optional objectives are just bonus payouts, like if you complete it, you obviously just get bonus pay for that. But the main thing here is to find the ghost and earn your money. I will go more in depth about the optional media bonus payouts later. However, the optional objectives will be obvious on how they work, so just doing what it tells you will earn you that bonus money. Each difficulty multiplies the money earned from ghost hunting, but it will, however, make the game a little bit more harder. So on amateur, the payouts are multiplied by 1, intermediate 2, professional 3, nightmare 4, and insanity 6. You can also customize the difficulty to your liking, and each modifier can increase or decrease the multiplier of your payout to the lowest of 0 and to the highest of 16. For the challenge mode difficulty, this one is mainly focused on the weekly map challenge. So basically each week a specific map has a weekly challenge set in there with a custom modifier that can alter the ghost or the player. The rewards will always be $5,000 and they will be nice in granting you extra equipment to automatically bring in, and these do not come out of your pocket. Basically, these challenges are just finding the right ghost 3 times and you earn $5,000, regardless if you die or not. There are no multipliers for this mode. $5,000 is all you earn from completing the challenge, and including the extra cash you earn from doing whatever. And I believe that's all I've covered at the moment, so let's get in there and start hunting some damn ghosts.
Alex, I asked Tiffany to be my dad again today.
Check it out, I'm in the house like carpet. And if there's too many...
After choosing a map of your choice, you start in the van. In front of you is a CCTV screen. The left rack next to the monitor is your main investigation equipment to find the ghost type, and the rack near the back is the optional and utility equipment to help you and keep track and defend yourself against the ghost. To the right of the CCTV is an empty pinboard and 3 optional objectives. The optional objectives will always be random, and completing these offer a bonus payout. The 4 separate monitors here tell you the layout of the map, the team's sanity, ghost activity, and sound sensors. The map layout is there to study the map if you're not familiar with it, and it can tell you where the breaker box location is, so you can immediately just go to the breaker box location, turn it on, and have there be light. The team's sanity, or sanity, acts as a health bar, I suppose. Sanity will drop the longer you stay in the dark, and yeah, I don't know why I said health bar. You don't die when it reaches 0. Ghost activity will tell you like what the hell is going on in the map. It won't tell you what's happening, but it'll let you know that there is indeed ghost activity happening. The sound sensor monitor just allows you to keep track of your sound sensor equipment, and it'll let you know that, if there's like any sounds coming through it. However, do mind, once you enter Nightmare and above, the sanity and ghost activity monitor will be smashed and you will have to be very cautious. This really isn't an issue as long as you don't stay in the dark for too long, which will, drain your sanity. And for the ghost activity, I guess it's just there to mask the activity from the ghost. If you press whatever button it is to prompt open your journal opens up. Wow. Media, evidence, and ghosts are the important tabs in the book to check and fill. The media tab serves as things you can screenshot, record, and record sounds of to earn bonus payouts and obtain evidence of paranormal activity. The evidence page is the page where you will find your ghosts by using your equipment. You can check off and cross out the ghosts and evidence. So for example, if you place a book down in a room with the ghost and the ghost throws the book, or not write after like some years, you can reel out the ghost writing by just flashing through it, and if it writes in the book, you can mark it as evidence. Marking or slashing a piece of evidence narrows down the choices of ghosts you'll be dealing with. The more evidence you find or cross out, the easier it is to find the right ghost. So, make sure to grab the keys, a video recorder, and whatever else you want to bring, and hit the keypad to begin the game. When you step outside, you always want to take note of the weather. The weather can be clear, windy, raining, foggy, sunny, thunderstorming, snowing, or blood rain. The weather can play a big role into your investigations, as wind and thunderstorms may cause a ton of noise, rain can extinguish fires, fog can reduce visibility, sun and snow makes the weather colder or warmer, potentially masking the ghost room, and blood rain will make the ghost more aggressive. You do get that 10% bonus payout. Moving into the play area of the map, if you're playing on the amateur difficulty, the breaker will automatically be on and you can just turn on the lights. However, anything above amateur in the breaker box will start off and you will have to make your way to its location and flip it on. So make use of learning all the map locations and every breaker box locations, as it will be randomized. After turning on the breaker box and having everything all set, next is finding the ghost room and getting your ghost. I would say to try and be cautious. Personally, for me, I like to look for hiding spots in the map, so when the ghost starts to go hunting, you can have a place to hide in. Usually, hiding spots are spots that can hide your entire body from the ghost, whether it be behind some boxes, a closet, or something cheesy like a kitchen island. Like, how the fuck does this guy not see me? Ghost hunting occurs when your sanity reaches a specific threshold specific to a type of ghost. Team sanity averages out all of the current player's sanity, so the ghost will hunt even if one person has a high enough sanity, because the ghost will hunt on that average. After that, I usually just drop everything at the front door and move all the equipment into the house, so it'll all be there and you won't have to backtrack as much. Also, the breaker allows the house to slowly heat up since the power's on, and we want that to happen, so we might as well just use that time to move the stuff in as the house gradually heats up. After moving your stuff into the entrance, if it's snowy or sunny, shut the front door behind you so the only temperature is coming from inside the location. If you're on any maps outside, use your main equipment. And now, I guess it's time to find the ghost. Alex, are you alive? Oh my god, Alex, you're alive. Holy shit. The note... that's going on YouTube.
Number 15. Burger King foot.
So to me, the main important gadget to find the ghost is to use the thermometer. You can easily find the ghost room with a thermometer, as the room would be very cold compared to any other room. You can also tell if you see your breath. While we're also talking about what the thermometer does, let's talk about the rest of the equipment and how it can be used to our advantage as evidence. So for the thermometer, over time the room will go cold or fluctuate at low temperature. So if your thermometer reads anything below 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, your evidence is freezing temperatures. Seeing your breath does not mean anything evidence-wise. It just tells you that you're in the room with the ghost. And during snowy weather, if you see your breath, don't confuse it as being in the room with the ghost, as this weather can mask the ghost's actual location. The electromagnetic field device is a device that detects activity with a form of sensors. The meter goes up to 5, and the higher the meter, the higher the activity. So, for example, if a door is touched, if something is thrown, or if a ghost is just there, the EMF will go off. So point the EMF at anything that happens. I usually have the EMF laid in the ghost room, and if it goes off, I pick it up and walk around until I get an EMF 5, which is evidence, or until the activity ends. The book is another piece of evidence you can use to find the ghost. So you want to place it down until you see both pages, and if the ghost writes in the book, it's evidence. But if you see the ghost literally throw it away, that means it will not write it down, and you can mark it off. The UV light serves as a way to detect handprints and footprints. If you see anything glowing underneath the UV light, it's usually evidence. The dots projector is used to detect ghosts and project them if they walk over. It can be a bit finicky, but you gotta have patience. The tier 1 dots can be pretty weird to use and set up and to find the ghosts, so it's always recommended to just bring 2 of tier 1s. The spirit box allows you to communicate with ghosts. You can speak into the spirit box or use text or whatever you have chosen in the game options and talk with the ghost. Just make sure you're within the range of the ghost in the ghost room and that you're in the dark. And by being in the dark, I mean like the light switch basically has to be off. Any piece of equipment that emits light can stay on, like the flashlight and dots, so you're all good. You can ask it things like, "Are you in this room? Are you friendly? Do you like Alex? Is Alex hot? Oh, wait. Is Alex hot? Do you like Alex? Is he hot?" If you follow the chart here, you can see for each tier what it looks like if it recognizes your questions and response. If you don't get a response, it means it shows up as a red ghost icon, a red X, or red dots. It means that the ghost heard you, but no response. And you know you'll get a response when you hear the ghost talk and see the visual cues. Once you get that response, check it off. The spirit box can be a bit funny to use, so just make sure to ask it some more questions and give it some time to, respond back. If it doesn't respond back after a while, just mark it off. And then most importantly, the video camera, which allows you to record, set up, and use night vision to see in the dark. When reaching a certain level, you can obtain the tripod that you can set your camera up on. This prevents the ghost from throwing the camera itself around, and then you have to go back and reseat it. So if you see ghost orbs through the camera, that is a piece of evidence, unless it could be something else. We'll come back to that. That's pretty much what each evidence equipment does to help find the ghost. So now we can move on to the utility/backup equipment.
I need a medic.
Now, these type of equipments are used to find, repel, and help yourself against the ghost. So let's go over them quickly. Just like the other tiers of the evidence equipment, each tier of these equipment gets better. So, the motion detector detects the ghost if it moves. The assault can be used to test and find out where the ghost is around the area. Sound sensor, once placed, can allow you to hear sounds in the area where you left it in. The parabolic microphone allows you to hear paranormal sounds and the things the ghost is doing, like if it's storing something in the other room. It muffles the audio of the player that's using it so they can focus on the sounds the ghost is making. The igniter allows you to light up candles and incense. It has its own inventory slot, so you don't have to drop any items to pick it up. The firelight serves as a light source if the lights are broken. Incense acts as a way to deter the ghost. If the ghost is in its hunting stage and is about to kill you, as long as you have an igniter in your inventory, you can use to light the incense, which deters the ghost away from you. You can use that time to hide or do whatever you need to do. Headgear, just like the igniter, has its own special inventory slot, so you don't have to drop anything. As in the name, is a headgear that for each tier utilizes each unique ability. The tier 1 serves as a video camera, the tier 2 serves as a flashlight, and tier 3 are night vision goggles that allow you to see in the dark. The crucifix acts as a second chance, so if your sanity is low and the ghost tries to hunt in the range of the crucifix would burst into flames and protect you from the ghost for a limited amount of time. The sanity medication allows you to restore the sanity you've lost. The sound recorder acts as a utility to record paranormal sounds and the ghost interacting with your utility items. The sound recorder acts as a hot and cold device, so when you hear interference, you want to go towards the source of the sound. You know you're in range when you hear the audio or if the audio spikes passes a required threshold. Holding the use button records, and you'll know you finished recording when you hear a successful chime. The photo camera allows you to take pictures of any evidence, paranormal things, and the ghost. Alright, well, jeez. You got all of that? Great, I know that was a lot, so if you gotta go back, go back. Okay, now we're moving on to the media tab.
If I need your body, I'll fucking...
Media are ways to obtain bonus and evidence of paranormal activities through taking videos, photos, and recording paranormal sounds with a sound recorder. On each difficulty, you can delete up to a specific amount of media images, recordings, and sounds. On professional, it's up to 3, so you have 3 chances to obtain a perfect piece of evidence without it being a duplicate or a failed take. On the lower levels, I believe you have a few more chances and vice versa. For photos, I always take a picture of the EMF reader, which can be at any level, UV handprints and footprints, remains, a burned crucifix, cursed objects, dead teammates, freezing temperatures, ghost writing, dirty water if the ghost turns on a sink, and any levitating objects, not thrown objects. And also any form that the ghost can appear, whether it be visible, a shadow form, translucent, an air ball, or dots. For video evidence, when you're recording, the timing has to be perfect and in the event it happens. So like, you can record the crucifix in the process of burning, a friend dying, a door moving, a fire being blown out, any disturbed salt, a motion sensor going off, any activity with lights exploding, flickering, or shutting off, ghost orbs, a ghost in the process of writing the book, and any form the ghost can be in. So for sound recorders, you can record a crucifix in the process of burning, an EMF 5 beeping, a fire being blown out, the ghost writing in the book, a spirit box response, a music box playing, and a Ouija board moving, and any sound that the ghost can make, whether it be laughing, groaning, breathing, and, etc. You just gotta find the source, obviously. For each piece of same evidence you take, these will count as duplicates and you will earn less money. You can take up to 5 photos, 5 videos, and 3 sound recorders, and just make sure they're all unique. And you can tell they're unique if you see a red thumbprint underneath the media you've taken. Completing and obtaining all unique ghost evidence in the media tab and completing the 3 optional objectives in the van will net you that perfect investigation bonus. So go for it, but be wary of the risks. Are you in here? Can you give us a sign?
Yeah, I think
Close
it's in
to
here.
busting.
Close to busing? I'm sorry, did you say close to busing?
Bro, what? Alrighty, well, hey, good to know the ghost got some good taste. Ooh.
You bear the mark. You are cursed.
So once per game, there are cursed possessions you can find and use to manipulate the ghost, game, and activity. All possessions can spawn on any map, but there will be a 1 out of 7 chance for a specific cursed possession to spawn in. Once you use a cursed possession, once it's interacted with, it can cause sanity drain and will sometimes, but usually, trigger a cursed hunt. In comparison, a regular ghost hunt will last a certain amount of time. The higher the difficulty though, the longer the hunt, and the bigger the map, the longer the hunt lasts. A cursed hunt basically makes hunts last 20 seconds longer permanently for that game. We'll talk a little bit more about how ghost hunts work in a second. There are currently 7 cursed possessions in Phasmophobia: the music box, the voodoo doll, the monkey's paw, the haunted mirror, the summoning circle, the tarot cards, and the Ouija board. The music box is used to draw out the ghost and hopefully find its ghost room. The ghost will hum to the music box song within 20 meters, allowing you to find its location by hearing it hum. And once you reach 5 meters within the range of the ghost will make its way towards the box and will just stand over it for some time. For the music box, a curse hunt can trigger once the ghost is standing over that music box for some time, or if the player decides to just throw down the music box while it's playing. When the music box stops playing either after the cursed ghost hunt or if it just stops playing generally, you can't use the music box anymore. The music box basically serves as information so you can find out where the ghost is located, so you could just immediately go there without having to check each room with a thermometer or whatever you have to use. The voodoo doll can be used to manipulate ghost activity from the ghost and allow you to find the ghost room. There are 10 pins, and each pin inserted into the doll will make the ghost interact and do something at the cost of 5% sanity. However, if the pin on the heart is pinned, 10% sanity will be drained from the player using it and a curse hunt will begin. This can be good to find out where the ghost is located by it doing its activity, or just trying to get some evidence in media. Moving on to my favorite cursed possession, the monkey's paw. The monkey's paw pretty much allows you to make 3 to 5 wishes of any type, and each wish is the difficulty reward multiplier dependent. Make sure to use it inside the investigation area and not outside, as it won't work. For the monkey's paw, you can wish for stuff like, to see or trap the ghost, wish to leave, wish to be safe, and that stuff. Each wish, however, does have a catch. My personal favorite one is wishing to revive a dead investigator at a 50-50% chance of trading my soul for them, and wishing for anything, because I love gambling. Next up is the haunted mirror. The haunted mirror is a simple cursed possession. Picking up will allow you to take a look into the eyes of the ghost and find its favorite ghost room. Don't bother taking it outside as it won't work. The mirror will break once you look at it long enough to where your sanity hits 0%, and when it breaks, a curse hunt will begin and you cannot use it anymore. The summoning circle is surrounded by 5 candles. Lighting each candle will take away 16% sanity, 80% total, from the player lighting the candles. The summoning circle is used to easily grab a photo or a video of the ghost, as when the summoning circle is used, the ghost will be trapped in that circle for 5 seconds, allowing for easy media. However, as always, after 5 seconds, a curse hunt will begin. Just be careful when lighting up the summoning circle, as this happened to me. Second to last on the list is the tarot cards, and these cards are basically gambling incarnate. There are 10 tarot cards, and each card can cause anything to happen, as each pull will always be randomized. Using the odds from the Phasmophobia wiki, these are what each card does once it's pulled. The Tower doubles ghost activity for 20 seconds. The Wheel of Fortune can grant or take away sanity. The Fool has a 17% chance to turn a drawn card into the Fool. The Devil triggers a ghost event near the closest player closest to the ghost. Death will trigger a cursed hunt. The Hermit forces the ghost into its favorite room and prevents it from leaving its own room for a minute. However, it will not prevent outside ghost events. The Sun will fully restore the drawer's sanity to 100%. The Moon will fully deplete the drawer's sanity to 0%. The High Priestess will revive a current dead player or will revive the next player that dies. The Hanged Man makes you instantly look at Yaoi. Last is the Ouija board. The Ouija board can be used to ask the ghost any question. Each question will cause sanity drain. For example, asking a ghost where its favorite room is will drain 50% sanity, where it died 20%, and how long they died 5%, and so on. If you ask the ghost a question and the planchette doesn't move, it doesn't recognize that question. Just make sure when you finish asking the ghost any questions, you say goodbye, as not saying goodbye will initiate a cursed hunt. Cursed hunts with the board can happen if the player doesn't have enough sanity to ask the ghost a question, not saying goodbye as mentioned, or asking to play hide and seek. Asking the ghost to play hide and seek will give a 5-second countdown and a cursed hunt begins. And that's pretty much all I've got to talk about for each cursed object. Each cursed object is useful to obviously obtain media, as it's the first thing you can easily take a picture of and be used to find information on the ghost. So use them wisely and carefully, I guess, unless you really are a psychopath and want to get your friends killed.
What the fuck?
It's Slenderman! Holy shit! It's
Really?
him!
This actual Slenderman? Are you shitting me?
Take a picture, screenshot that. I want to see it.
There you go.
I screenshotted it for you, Alex.
It's
I'ma eat it.
Alright, next is how ghost hunts work. And I swear to you guys, this will be quick as we did talk a bit about it earlier in the video. Hunts are basically when the ghost comes out to kill you. That's it. You'll know the hunt is starting if the lights start to flicker everywhere, you hear your heartbeat, and if your electronics start to malfunction. On the lower difficulties, you have a grace period for when the ghost hunt begins. Basically, when the ghost begins its hunt, players are granted a few seconds to hide or get into position before the ghost hunt actually begins. If you're hiding in a closet or locker, the activity from the ghost can cause them to slightly open. You do at least get a little warning, as it's when the door jitters. Just make sure to shut them back into place or hold it as the door jitters. Once the ghost hunt ends, you have some time before the next one begins. So go restore some sanity or make sure you're prepared for the next. Also, when you're hiding, make sure to not do this.
And make sure your country is set to North America.
Okay. I'm trying to. Where is it? Where is it?
Bro, close the door.
I'm not doing anything.
Don't open the door.
I'm not opening.
I'm going to lick you.
Now, if you're confident in this, you can loop the ghost around some objects. For example, this island here on Tanglewood is my favorite one to loop the ghost around. And honestly, as long as you have like somewhere where you can dance the ghost around, it can be considered a looping area. Looping the ghosts around can be perfect to learn the ghost and what they do. Reminder, each ghost has innate traits and it can be revealed when you have them doing this. When looping, you always want to crouch if you can as you run faster, and it also breaks line of sight with the ghost. Because ghosts, when they see you, they slowly gain momentum. So hiding yourself behind the object you're looping can break that line of sight and make the ghost lose sight of you and make sure they don't gain speed. But if you're still trying to get information on the ghost, make sure to use any electronics you have on you or use the radio to lure them back. And that's pretty much just it about ghosts. It can be a time to play it safe and hide, or be epic and use it to easily identify the ghosts and cross out the ones you know aren't it. And you'll know the hunt's over when all the lights shut off. You can always double check trying to turn on the lights to see if the hunt's over. And that's pretty much just it about ghost hunts. Also, on Nightmare and above, make sure to sacrifice one person to die, as it totally reduces the hunt duration and not increase it.
Why me?
Wait, no!
Alright, next up is the ghosts. As mentioned earlier in the video, there are currently 24 ghosts, and they have unique traits and abilities that make them stand out from each other, sometimes making them really easy to point out. So this is how you find your ghosts, either during a hunt, or with finding them with how to interact with the main evidence or utility equipment. Alright, so this video is late, and I apologize. Phasmophobia just added 3 new ghosts, and I'm just like, bruh. So far, the 3 new ghosts are the Diane, Gallo, and Obambo, which are still being studied right now, and obviously they'll be shoved last since the script has been finished before. And so the way that we're going to be covering the ghost is that we're going to be using the original ghost layout in the book, and we're not going to be using the current alphabetical order. So for this portion of the video, I am joined by 2 friends, and we're just going to be talking about our ghosts, obviously, well, each section of the ghosts. So I'll be covering my portion of the ghosts, I'll be covering theirs, and the way we're going to be doing it is, as mentioned, with the original layout, it will be top down. So once I finish my section top down, they'll start theirs top down, and then they'll finish it with the one top down, then we'll talk about the 3 last ghosts. So this might give you some whiplash, and I do apologize if it does. Kickstarting with our basic ghost, The Spirit. The Spirit is your traditional ghost. There's nothing, pretty much special about this ghost. To find it, you need an EMF 5 reading, a Spirit Box response, and ghost writing. The only defining feature about this ghost is that when you burn an incense around the spirit, it will not be able to hunt for 3 minutes compared to 1 minute and 30 seconds like most other ghosts. So on No Evidence in Apocalypse, this is pretty easy to discern, assuming you manage to find their ghost room. But yeah, boring ass ghost. Alright, Poltergeist is up next, and it's one of my favorite ones to do a test for. Poltergeist can be found with a Spirit Box response, ghost writing, and UV evidence. Poltergeist can easily be found during a hunt, or you step into its room, and then somehow almost every object in its room with full force will just be thrown at you or scattered everywhere. They have a unique ability where they can throw multiple nearby objects at once. So if you pile almost every interactable object on the map into one spot, the Poltergeist has an ability where it can either throw them all around the room, levitate and drop, or throw all of the objects in the pile at you. But personally, my favorite way of finding out that's a Poltergeist is by using a 12 gauge on it if you somehow encounter one as you're out looking for artifacts. Next is the Mare. The Mare is a ghost that gets stronger in the dark. They can be found with a Spirit Box response, ghost orbs, and ghost writing. Mares like to stay in the dark and will generally never turn the lights on, and the ghost event that they seem to prefer is by doing the ghost event where they appear and then destroy the nearby light sources. This is the first ghost on the list that hunts at different sanity thresholds. The Mare hunts at 60% sanity if the current ghost room has all of its lights off, and at 40% if the lights turned on in this room and nearby rooms. An easy way the Mare can be identified is if it uses its ability where if you turn on the light switch and the Mare instantly shuts it off. Be careful, as this could be a coincidence with other ghosts who just happen to shut it off as you just turn it on. The Demon is a very funny ghost. Its evidence is UV, ghost writing, and freezing temperatures. This type of ghost is always pissed off and is ready to catch some bodies at any time. The Demon hunts at 70% sanity usually, but its ability is that it can just decide to hunt whenever it wants to. Crucifixes have an effect on the Demon by having a large cover range. Obviously, you won't see it in the radius as it will obviously easily give away that it's a demon. Demons have a very low hunt cooldown, so after their initial hunt, they can hunt after 20 seconds compared to any of the other ghosts, which is like 25 seconds. So if it decides to hunt between a 20 to 24 second range, demon. Using incense on a demon stops them hunting for only a minute compared to the regular minute and 30 seconds like any other ghosts. So basically, if it hunts between a minute and 29 seconds, demon as well. The Yokai is probably one of the stupidest ghosts in Phasmophobia, and I'm second to it. The Yokai can be found with a Spirit Box, ghost orbs, and UV.
Bruh.
The Yokai is a very unique ghost as it takes advantage of the main communication mechanic in the game. To make up for this, the Yokai dumbs down its IQ to -1 once it starts hunting. The Yokai has a low electronic and voice detection range. For example, when you use your radio and it's all staticky, the ghost will most likely make its way towards you since it detected you using your radio. However, using a radio while it is, still staticky and the ghost just doesn't come towards you at all, it's probably a Yokai or the ghost was just stuck on something. Same if you use the music box, Cursed Possession, it has to be very close for it to start moving towards the music box because of its low, voice and hearing detection range. The Myling is a very quiet ghost. It can be found with an EMF 5, UV, and ghost writing. And despite it being very quiet, it's a pretty vocal ghost, as if you use a parabolic microphone or sound recorder and you happen to capture a ghost sound or ghost audio every, according to the wiki, every 64 to 127 seconds compared to the regular 80 to 80 to 2, God fucking damn it. Compared to the regular 80 to 127 seconds, it could be a Myling. So that's a 16-second difference where you have to hope that the Myling makes a sound before the regular 80 seconds. During hunts, the Myling can be identified and heard if within 12 meters you start to hear its footsteps and ghost talking, compared to the regular 20 meters. I've seen people do the flashlight test to detect a Myling. Basically, they drop a turned on flashlight on the floor, and then if you hear footsteps and the flashlight starts to flicker, it can be a Myling. If you hear footsteps first but the flashlight isn't flickering, it's most likely not a Myling. The Raiju is a ghost that likes to get high off of that smell of AA batteries, or whatever the hell these electronics are used to power them up. The Raiju can be found with EMF 5, ghost orbs, and dots. Raijus are pretty dangerous to deal with if you have enabled electronics scattered all over the floor, or if you're trying to loop the Raiju and you just happen to leave a turn-on thermometer. That one didn't happen to me. The Raiju takes advantage of the player's turned-on evidence equipment in terms of speed. The Raiju can interfere with electronics up to 15 meters compared to the regular 10 meters, and it will gain a speed boost if it's near any enabled electronics.
Hello? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wow.
Alright, next up is the Moroi. The Moroi is a ghost that can curse players through any audible captures of the ghost. The Moroi can be found with a spirit box, ghost writing, and freezing temperatures. If the player captures audio via a sound recorder, spirit box, or parabolic microphone of the Moroi, which is just a generic ghost sound, the player will be cursed and their sanity will drain by the double. Even if the player is in a lit area, they will still lose sanity. The curse can be lifted or will be on pause if the player steps outside, or when they step outside and make their way towards the van, they take a sanity medication to lift it. During hunts, the Moroi's speed is dependent on player's sanity. If the player's sanity is very low, the Moroi will be fast, and if the player's sanity is high, the Moroi will be slow. On single player, what I usually do to test for the Moroi is to bring in a sanity medication into the map, try to start a hunt, listen for the footsteps, and take a sanity medication. If I notice that the speed slowly drops or drops right after I take the medication, it's a Moroi. During a hunt, if you use an incense against the Moroi will be blinded for 7.5 seconds compared to the regular 5 seconds like any other ghost. And that's pretty much just it. Alright, I've completed covering the first third of my ghosts, so I'll be handing over the next section to my mother from a different brother, Alex. Alex, take it away.
Yo guys, it's me, Alex. I'll be covering the Wraith, Banshee, Revenant, Yurei, Hantu, Onryo, Obake, and the Deogen. First, I'll be talking about the Wraith. The Wraith can be identified by using the Spirit Box, EMF, and dots. The easiest way to tell if it's a Wraith is to place salt down and watch for footsteps. The Wraith is the only ghost in the game that has the ability to float, so it clearly stepped on the salt, but didn't disturb it, then it's a Wraith. This freaky bastard also has a unique ability to teleport to a random player, giving off an EMF 2 at the location of said player. So if you're not careful, it will catch you with your pants off. So please watch out. Up next is the Banshee. For evidence, you'll need ghost orbs, dots, and UV. What makes this ghost unique is its ability to make a unique scream when using a parabolic mic and sound recorder. It only has a 33% chance to curse, so listen carefully. Now here's my favorite thing about this ghost. At the start of the game, it will select the first person who entered the lobby as its target to hunt. So if you have shit internet, then you're safe. Also worth mentioning, if the ghost has a name, if the ghost has a male name, it cannot be a Banshee. Next is one of my favorite ghosts in the game, the Revenant. For evidence, you'll need ghost orbs, ghost writing, and freezing temps. What makes this ghost one of my favorites is how aggressive and dangerous it is. The Revenant has the ability to speed up tremendously if it detects a player during the hunt. That includes things like using electronics or talking near it. Now, if you end up getting detected during a hunt and have nowhere to go, just close your eyes and accept your fate. You're just getting blasted, buddy. Like, you're done. Next up is the Yurei. For evidence, you'll need ghost orbs, freezing temps, and dots. This ghost doesn't really have anything going for itself, to be honest. Its ability is to fully close or open doors smoothly. That's really about it. It's kind of lame if you ask me. So if the ghost interacts with the door but doesn't close it or open it smoothly, then you can just rule out Yurei. I mean, it's a pretty goofy ghost, not gonna lie. The Hantu is up next. The evidence you'll need are ghost orbs, UV, and freezing temps. What sets this ghost apart from the others is its affinity for the cold. The ghost doesn't really have a unique ability, but it makes up for it by being more dangerous the colder the surrounding area is when it hunts. If you have the cojones, you can turn off the breaker and watch out the ghost acts when it hunts. It will be more aggressive and speedier than when the breaker was on. Also, if you see it have icy breath during a hunt, then it's a Hantu. You can immediately roll it's a Hantu if you see icy breath during a hunt. That is if you have the breaker off. Up next is the Onryo. The evidence you'll need are ghost orbs, freezing temps, and spirit box. What makes a ghost unique is how it fears fire. The Onryo is the only ghost who will not light any kind of fire source, so you can scratch it off if a fire source turns on. This ghost hunts on a fire system, so best way to identify an Onryo is to bring a candle and light it. If it blows out the candle 3 times and a hunt starts almost instantly, then it's an Onryo. It's worth noting that this only works on one candle at a time. So if you have 2 candles, one blows out, you light the other one, and then that one blows out, and then you light the other one, then it won't count. You have to just use 1 candle. The Obake is now here. This is also one of my favorite ghosts. Evidence are EMF, UV, and ghost orbs. The reason it's one of my favorites is its ability to shapeshift into other ghost models. For example, if you see a fat man blink and a woman the next, is an Obake. It can be pretty hard to see the ghost change models due to the intensity of the hunt. For example, like your flashlight will start flickering so much that you really won't be able to tell. So the easiest way to check is to bring a video camera. If you see the ghost shapeshift while filming, you got yourself an easy dub. It also has the chance to give you a unique UV print. If you see 6 fingers instead of the usual 5, it's an Obake. Also, the video camera will tell you shapeshift, like right there. Lastly, my favorite ghost in the game, the Deogen. Evidences are spirit box, ghost writing, and dots. I love the Deogen for how scary it can be at first and how easy it can be last. The Deogen has the scary ability to know where you are at all times, so hiding anywhere is pointless. It will come at you at an extremely fast pace, but it comes at a cost. Once it gets close to you, it starts to slow down a lot. So slow to the point where you can just literally walk right in front of it and it just will never catch up. But just know, if you hide during the hunt and you do not know it's a Deogen, you're getting absolutely destroyed. You are getting blasted. Alright, I'm done yapping, so I'm giving it to my baby boy Noah.
Alex is literally over there leisurely.
No! Oh!
Boom. Okay. Don't really know what part of the video I'll be in. Whether I'll be near the end, maybe the middle. I'll be somewhere in there. Phantom Fears player here. So the first one I got is the Goryo Fantom. Is a pretty easy ghost to get, especially if you're going for photos. The Fantom requires the spirit box, UV for ultraviolet lights, and the dots projector. Those are its 3 little evidences. Taking any photo of a Fantom, regardless of its ghost form, will always disappear the moment the photo is taken. So if it's like a shadow or full form or hunting, it'll always disappear for a second. Kind of blink and you'll miss it moment. You'll still get the bonus, so it'll still pop up in your media tab where it'll tell you ghost and it'll just be not there, gone. Totally put a photo of a Fantom there, because RNGesus isn't nice to me and I don't think he's going to give me a Fantom. Somewhat similarly to the Wraith, the Fantom can also roam and make its way to a player. Difference is, the Wraith teleports and then gives an EMF reading. The Fantom, however, will walk its way towards the random player, whoever it happens to be. Or if you're alone like me, it'll probably just be you. So if a motion sensor goes off, an assault pile is disturbed, and the player gets an EMF reading when there's no ghost interactions occurring, it's a Fantom. During hunts, Phantoms will remain almost invisible compared to other ghosts, so they'll be pretty hard to actually see during the hunt. So you really got to pay attention to those footsteps. The Jinn is a ghost that gets more aggressive once the breaker is on. The Jinn's big evidences are the EMF 5, ultraviolet, and freezing temperatures. As I said, this ghost becomes aggressive once the breaker's turned on. They're the only ghosts that can never turn off the breaker. But you gotta be careful with having too many lights on, because if the Jinn turns a light on, like a ghost interaction or whatever, and that shorts out the breaker, that could pretty easily throw things off. You leave an EMF reader near the breaker. If an EMF 2 or 5 is generated near it, but nothing happens, and the breaker doesn't turn off, it's likely the Jinn doing its thing. Just where the first player who gets near the Jinn with the breaker on will have their sanity zapped. Real punny there, scriptwriter. You're real funny, buddy. And it also will affect other players nearby. Alrighty, boom. I dare say Wazowski. So, the Shade is the next ghost I'll be covering, and the script says it, and I say it too. The Shade is a pretty goddamn boring ghost. It is a very underwhelming ghost to encounter in the overall scope of the game. Its big evidences are the EMF5 reading, ghost writing, and freezing temps. And while, finding the ghost room is pretty easy, actually getting it to do stuff is pretty difficult. It very rarely will do ghost interactions. I don't quite have a number, but I would imagine it's at some below chance, like 15% or 20%, because that thing just doesn't do anything, sis. It's a very shy ghost, and it won't do anything when someone is in the ghost room, and it doesn't start hunts if someone is in the ghost room. The hunts will start at 35% sanity. That's when it could actually, initiate the hunt. But it could be prevented if you stand in the ghost room. So, pretty underwhelming ghost. But also kind of a fun ghost because, bit of a shakeup. You get to walk around the whole map and probably accidentally trigger a hunt and get yourself killed like I did the first time I encountered a shade. Don't tell anyone I told you that, though. That's between us. Got it? Uh-huh.
Next up is the Oni. The Oni can be found with an M5, freezing temps, and D.O.T.S. The Oni Isen, coughs, is a ghost that will become more aggressive the more people are near its ghost room. It start to tweak out by throwing shit on the floor or near the player a lot more often. The Oni during any ghost event will appear in its physical form often. Colliding with the Oni during the event will drain 20% sanity opposed to the regular 10%. It is the only ghost that cannot do airball/mist form events. During hunts, the Oni will rarely be invisible and will always try to be visible during hunts. Wazowski.
Alright, so I'm going to start this by just saying, I want to know what this is. I want to know who did this. I want to know who this is. I feel like this is the number one diehard Phasmophobia player. This is what happens when you perfect the game. You become this. Goryo's big evidences are EMF5, the ultraviolet light, and the dots. The Goryo is a ghost that will never change its ghost room compared to any other ghost. So if a ghost changes the ghost rooms, pretty easy to rule out the Goryo. The Goryo will always stick to its ghost room, and when it does a ghost roam, it will always be near its ghost room, and it'll never roam far. The Goryo has a special ability where you can only see it through the dots through a video, so your natural POV will never catch the Goryo doing dots. But like the van camera that you set up with the tripod, that'll catch the sucker. Never changes that room unless it's overridden by the monkey paw wish, I wish for sanity. The next ghost I'm covering, you see a little change in scenery here, Thought I'd just sort of change it up, I suppose. Look at all that. And this map's pretty on this winter mode. The Winter's Jest. The next ghosts are the twins. Pretty weird ghosts, I'm not gonna lie. I still don't fully get them, just in terms of how to immediately tell who they are. But I'm a pro at this game, so we're gonna ignore that part. Their big evidences are the EMF5, the Spirit Box, and freezing breaths. And the twins are technically one ghost. There are no other twins to do any ghost events or try to interfere with the player's utility and equipment items. Basically, the twins have a 50% chance to interact with anything within the normal range on small and medium maps, while being larger on larger maps. 30% chance to interact with anything at a greater distance, and a 20% chance to use its ability where it can do 2 interactions within a second. You can also differ the twins with the speed during hunts. One twin will be faster, the other twin will be a little slower, and the twins can also start hunts from different areas. Just pay attention to the ghost interactions and you'll be able to figure them out. You'll probably do better than I did with them because they kicked my butt last time I encountered them. This time we're at Nell's Diner. I've always wondered why this cop car is just endlessly putting the lights on. Makes me wonder what the hell even happened to this place. And that also made me wonder, what is the Phasmophobia lore like? What is all of this? Why am I here in this van investigating these ghosts? And why do the ghosts look like zombies? Because they be looking kind of weird. You see the ghost models, guys? A little freaky. But if you go into the diner, which I'll totally probably do, you can see there's food, coffee, lit cigars. I think it's really funny that it just looks like everything just Thanos snapped away. It's all gone later. Anyways, both my favorite and least favorite, which is the Mimic. The Mimic is a ghost that can mimic the other ghosts, and it'll always mimic one ghost listed previously in the journal. The little evidence ghosts here. All these suckers here. All of them. The Mimic can be found with a spirit box, UV, and freezing temperatures. A trait of this ghost, besides its ability to mimic other ghosts, is that it'll always show ghost orbs in its favorite room. So if you somehow have all 4 pieces of evidence, including the false ghost orbs, it's 100% a Mimic. Even on Nightmare, Insanity, no evidence, if you get ghost orbs, plus any Mimic evidence, even on a no evidence run, it's a Mimic. Guaranteed. The Mimic can happen to mimic itself, which is kind of funny. If the Mimic ends up mimicking the Mimic, it'll become a generic ghost with no grander abilities. It'll just sort of act like a generic old dude. Well, I guess not an old dude, a dead dude maybe. Overall, a pretty unique ghost, especially when you have it mimicking a bunch of different unique abilities, like an Obake's shape-shifting, or maybe a Revenant, where it just speeds up the more it looks at you. Or the opposite, maybe a Deogen, where he always knows where you are. He's just sort of trailing along because you know how to train him around the room you're in. So I love the idea that the Mimic can mimic itself, and it becomes a normal ghost. Like, it just doesn't do anything. If you see the main entrance door close, and it has UV, it's a Mimic mimicking a Yurei. Very rare occurrence, only happened to Novum once, and I will agree, he wrote in the script, I thought it was cool, and that actually does sound pretty cool. Congratulations to you for getting something like that to happen, especially while I'm here at Nell's Diner. That does sound really cool, though. I wish the Mimic would do stuff like that for me. I'm not gonna lie, I actually find the Mimic extremely weird, and I kind of wish it did more with mimicking. Like, I wish it really messed with me, but it just kind of weirds me out. I do think it's a really fun ghost to go against, though.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my god. I'm going to kill
That was a
myself.
possibility.
Oh my fucking god.
And it had ghost. Oh my gosh, bro.
Oh my god. Wait, we didn't check for freezing temps. I forgot about that. And we talked in the spirit box. God damn it, I forgot about that too. God damn it.
You hate to see
Oh my
The Mimic
god.
wins again. Alrighty, here we are. New backdrop. Slightly darker backdrop than I thought it would be. But I also just really wanted to see this map in this setting here, because it's quite spooky. And also the full moon is really pretty. I thought the lighthouse would... Maybe it turns on when you turn the power on, you know? That might be the way to go with that sucker then. Anyways, the last ghost I'm covering will be the Thaye. The Thaye is a really interesting little ghost. I find it kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. The Thaye can be found with ghost orbs, ghost writing, and dots. Pretty fun set of evidence items. I almost said investigation items. A unique thing about the Thaye is that it ages over time the longer the game session goes on. The Thaye ages by 1 once per minute, and if the player is near the Thaye, it will also age. That's pretty much the sum of it. It'll just get older as the game goes on. However, at the start, because it's younger, the Thaye will be a little bit more aggressive. In its ghost room, its sanity threshold for hunting will be bigger, and in hunts, it'll also be a little quicker, generally more aggressive. And then as the game goes on, the Thaye will become less and less aggressive, and the frequency of its ghost events will sort of decrease, unless you do something to force a ghost event. Fun mechanic, pretty weird little mechanic, is the Ouija board, where you can ask how old the ghost is. The Thaye is the only ghost that will give you various answers on how old it is, because it's going to be aging throughout the game. And that's a pretty tall-tale way to get a hold of what the Thaye is. Easy win with that Ouija board if you figure out pretty soon and quickly what the dealio with him is, or her, whoever it is, the elderly person. Unless you speedrun, you know, doesn't actually hit a high age bracket, I guess.
And I guess this all comes back to me. So, To quickly cover the 3 new ghosts, beginning with the Dayan will always be a female ghost. It normally hunts at 50% sanity, but if a player is near the Dayan and is standing still, it will hunt at 45% sanity. If the player is moving around the Dayan, it will then hunt at 65% sanity. So during hunts, if the Dayan is far from the players, it moves at the regular ghost speed. If it's near a player that isn't moving, the speed drops to a fixed speed, which is I believe 1.2 meters a second, somewhere around there. However, if the player moves, the Dayan will move very fast. So yeah, very dangerous. So make sure you have a plan if you're going to test for it. The Abambo has 2 states, calm and aggressive. So when the game starts, the Abambo will be calm. Then the moment the front door opens to begin the contract, every 2 minutes from then on, the Abambo can switch between calm and aggressive. This switch can also occur during hunts. So during the calm state, the Abambo can hunt only at 10% sanity and will have pretty much low activity. If it does hunt during that state, it'll be a little bit slow. However, once it enters its aggressive state, it will hunt at 65% sanity and below, and will be a little bit faster. However, in this state, hunts will last 20% shorter, so there you go, a bit of a trade-off in case if it decides to be a bit bipolar on you during hunts. Finally is the Galu. There are 3 states it can be in, which is normal and ranged and weakened. It starts off in its normal state, which is the default. If the Galu happens to either step in salt, burn a crucifix, or if you just use an incense on it, regardless if it's during a hunt or not, it moves over to the enraged state, where it'll be very fast and not step in salt. The crucifix range will be reduced, and incense will not be as effective as it wouldn't blind the Galu for long. After the enraged hunt of the Galu, it becomes weakened, to the point where incense can blind it longer, it can step in salt, and the crucifix range will be increased. Then afterwards, the cycle repeats itself if, the Galu happens to step in salt, burn a crucifix, and if you just use an incense on it, so there you go. I didn't expect covering the ghosts to be this long, so let's just move on to the last chapter, which is just the miscellaneous stuff that I pretty much want to talk about, or just forgot to mention, so let's go. Well guys, welcome to the end of the video. This is pretty much everything I think I could have covered much more about Phasmophobia compared to my initial video. It didn't help that I gave myself a deadline, so I definitely missed out on covering some special topics that I really wanted to cover. But regardless, there's still a lot to do in Phasmophobia, like during the ongoing current Christmas event, playing a specific map 50 times for a special ID badge, and trying to complete the Apocalypse 3 challenge, which I'll admit I haven't accomplished yet due to poor RNG and just getting a photo of the ghost, but dying to complete the optional objectives. And don't say I forgot to talk about ghost events. I didn't. Yeah, I forgot. So, there's a film festival upcoming at my school for New Year's. I'm unfortunately not attending it this year, so don't expect a new video soon. However, with the upcoming release of 007 First Light in May, I believe, I might do a follow-up and review some of the Daniel Craig Bond games, like Bloodstone by Bizarre and Quantum of Solace by Treyarch, since both games gave me fond memories of, a pretty much simpler time.
You will be granted a license to kill.
That's fucking dope. If the music comes in every time so you can kill everybody, you would just need to be really good at aiming. Oh, see? He's not dead. Did he throw it and then grab it again and then put it in his pocket? The sauce is unmatched. Damn. Damn.
Yes.
Damn, that's coming out really soon.
Dude, I cannot wait for this game to fucking come out, bro. So expect something related to that type of video soon. If not, then just wait next year for a new video. But regardless, I think the Daniel Craig Bond games might be my next project for my film class. So regardless, I hope you guys have had a great Christmas, a great day, and hopefully a great upcoming New Year and New Year itself. And Maishu, I hope you're feeling a lot better, man. Thank you all for watching. Please stay safe, have fun with family, and take care of yourself. Thank you, and here's to a new year.